Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the next episode of With Conviction, a story of hope, horror, and history. My name is Rain, my pronouns are she, her, and I am your GM for this adventure. With me are my heroes for this campaign. Why don't you all introduce yourselves?
Hi there, I'm Alice. I play Desdemona Hartwood. Both of us use she and they pronouns. Des is a Rose Heart Guardian, and she is a sort of gothy, punky, magical girl with a heart of pink and some confusing feelings about her parents right at this moment.
Hi, I'm Skylin. My pronouns are they and them, and I play Chris Whitlock, whose pronouns are she or any. Chris is our extremely sportsy, magical, not a girl, and is our firebrand artillery, who has decided that she likes where she's sitting and doesn't particularly want to move.
My name is Rob. My pronouns are he, him, and I play Eliza, whose pronouns are she, her. Eliza is our fiery, stalwart soul magical girl who has had a bad realization just now.
Indeed. You had all spent some time at Dez's house, and some interesting conversations were had between Hazel and Jesse and Chris, and between Des and her parents. And an interesting offer was made to Eliza, which she turned down. And after that, Des dropped an interesting piece of information that this monster that she had fought didn't quite look like the others. So, what are you doing now?
Well, before we get started, I've got a couple questions for the GM. First off, can that conversation with Hazel from last episode be taken as Chris's light shift trigger of speaking a blunt truth?
Yes, I think so.
Follow-up question. How does that affect my ability to take a shift trigger later this episode?
It's per scene, so you haven't lost anything.
Okie doke. Third question. Can I roll build friendship with Hazel?
I think so, yeah. Go ahead and roll.
Okay. And while I'm rolling, I want to explain the way I have chosen to handle the friendship mechanics here. The way I've decided to handle this is because the thing that we've lost is Chris's relationship with these folks. I have basically voided those relationships for the time being. So, like, they will come back as soon as we get the fragment back, assuming we're able to. But for now, like, Desdemona and Eliza are effectively strangers, and so is Hazel. However, I just rolled a 10.
Yeah. And considering the conversation that you had last time, that is entirely appropriate. So, as all of you reconvene in the pool house.
Oh, no. Chris is not moving. She is very comfortable.
Eliza, help. Please.
Chris grins up at Hazel.
Eliza emerges from the pool house with a determined expression on her face.
I am under siege and I need to be saved.
She stares at the two of you for a moment.
Eliza,
And
you see Chris curled up in Hazel's lap and not moving, even though Hazel very clearly wants to.
Faith, you owe me $10.
I didn't. What?
Eliza gestures to the two of them. But anyway, we've got something more important going on.
Sorry, Hazel, I got comfy. And Chris drops the extra stone weight and lets both of them up.
Oh, my legs. I can feel my legs.
Eliza offers a hand to each of them to help pull them up. So, was just talking to Des. We just had a realization. The creature that she killed earlier today, that was a light creature.
Oh, what?
Chris, remember the twin powers, light and dark?
Barely?
Well, the ones we've been dealing with in that gray we were in, they were all dark. Which means this light one came from somewhere else.
Any chance we can track it down?
That's what I'm thinking. And fortunately, Eliza reaches into her pocket and pulls out her phone, where she's already pulled up the picture of Hazel's conspiracy board from months ago. And she just says, "We have the best monster tracker around right here. You up for it, Hazel?"
uh, yeah, sure. Um, you're okay with me going after this?
Once the fight starts, you're in the back, but I think all four of us are tracking this thing down right now.
Okay, well, I don't think it's that fast.
Well, we'll see. I mean, the thing seemed to have been pretty big. It left footprints, and she points. Des, Jesse, Faith,
Hmm?
we're going hunting. Jesse, can you give Faith a ride to my place where we've got the command center set up?
You have a command center?
Yeah, it's just my desk where Faith tracks stuff for us.
Yeah, it's not that fancy, but
And Jesse, I guess you can be our them in the chair?
thumbs up.
All right. Wow.
So they hop in a car and drive off.
All right. Footprints. Let's see where they take us.
Does anyone have any skills related to tracking or understanding the outdoors or etc., etc.?
Would finding patterns apply?
Would it help if I used my -1 to research?
I am reluctant to use finding patterns, partially because I do not want to make it too overbroad.
That's fair.
Can Chris roll inspect? Especially if, like, Eliza's pointing out things that need to be looked at.
I can give you inspect, especially because Chris is very familiar with working outdoors, and we can use finding patterns. If Eliza wants to use help, Chris can take the bonus that you have from your relationship.
I think it's a +1.
I'm rolling inspect plus help.
Yes.
Okay, so that's +2 total. Um, 5 plus 2 is 7.
Hey.
Modifiers matter sometimes.
There we go.
Okay, GM, what does that mean for us?
I'm thinking.
Didn't plan for this.
Improv.
Yeah, I thought you were going into the gray.
So did we, but
Somebody presented us a light monster, and we were like, ooh, time to grind XP.
So you actually follow it down the hill through the forest and off of the property. You do sort of have to climb over a half fallen over fence with a line of barbed wire across the top and wooden posts that have been rotting in the forest. You cross a road and you eventually come to a small river. This is where the tracks seem to lead to, at least at first.
what time of day is it? It's probably getting towards sunset by now, right?
Yes.
On the theory that it was just a straight line, Eliza is going to just hop the river and check the other side over there. See if there's tracks over there as well.
On the theory that it is not a straight line, Chris will pan side to side.
What's Des doing?
If the tree cover isn't too dense, I think she's going to take off a little bit and see if she can see anything from above.
All right, all of you roll search.
I got a native 11.
Does Chris get to roll with inspect again?
Yes.
That's a 9 on the dice, plus 1 is 10.
Y'all rolling really well.
7 for Des.
All right, well, Eliza's the one who spots these again as they continue further into the forest until you come to a small clearing. Looking around, it's dark, so it's hard to see a lot of details. The grass here has grown long, but something has trampled it down recently. It seems to have been trampled in a circle in the middle of the clearing, and there doesn't seem to be a whole lot here. You can see this circle of long grass beaten into the ground. You can see the large footprints ground into the dirt that you followed.
Eliza holds a ball of fire in her hand to provide some light, and she's actually just been struck by an idea. She's looking for circles of mushrooms, little circular patterns, because she's heard about that. Are there any fairy rings visible?
You don't see any.
Okay.
Also, it occurs to you that this grass is kind of dead and dry.
She is holding the fire up very high above her head. Wait a minute, I have a phone. She extinguishes it and just pulls her phone out and uses that light.
Your phone starts to ring.
What? Who's calling?
Faith.
Oh, duh. Hi, Faith.
Hey, y'all find anything yet?
Well, we tracked the footprints to a clearing in the forest.
Hazel. Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you. I don't see anything.
Well, it looks like the thing spent a lot of time here, because these footprints kind of go all over.
Okay, can you send me your location?
Yeah, here. And then she sends the coordinates over so Faith can look it up on Google Maps or whatever.
All right, Eliza, do you have a map in a closet somewhere? I want to add to your board.
Oh, yeah, if you check the closet in the second bedroom, in the shelves, you'll find one on like the middle shelf.
There's some distant rummaging for a second, and then after a bit. Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. I will get this added.
All right. Yeah. So probably keep the info separate from the other stuff because like this is a different source probably.
Oh, I don't know if there's room on the board.
I'll buy a new whiteboard on the way home, okay?
I can clear off mine. It'll be fine, Hazel adds.
Oh yeah, okay.
You just have the money for that?
Yeah, my parents pay me to stay away, so yeah, it's a whole thing.
Chris raises an eyebrow in concern.
Not the time right now. Someday I'll explain this. Anyway, let's see. All right, Hazel, you're our monster sleuth. Are you seeing anything?
Nope. Just sort of looks around, stands in the middle of the circle of trampled grass and just looks around and is like,
Eliza starts walking the perimeter of the circle to see if she can spot another trail of footprints leading somewhere else.
All right, go ahead and roll again.
Well, that's a 4. I'm going to spend that point of courage I picked up earlier to turn it into a 7.
Okay. Panning around, describe to me how it almost goes wrong. How do you almost miss the smaller set of footprints?
I think because they're smaller, Eliza is just looking for big footprints that match the creature that they followed here. And at first she dismisses them as animal tracks, and then with her phone light, she highlights these smaller ones. What do they look like?
I think the first one you notice because you didn't have to push through the grass to get to it. You look down and you pick up your foot and you notice that there's a shoe print slightly larger than yours. These shoe prints continue away from the clearing, back toward the road.
There was a person here.
Oh,
Yeah, we've got shoe prints.
Shit.
Are they like sporty texture shoe prints or hiking boots? Can we tell that?
not just from the pattern.
Okay. Well, um, let's follow these. That's all we've got for the moment.
I think we can all follow
Yeah.
Eliza as we go for a little bit there.
Yeah. Faith, we're following some human-looking footprints out of the clearing.
Human?
Yeah, they're wearing shoes.
I can't decide which interpretation of that is worse.
Hmm. Well, the person left since the shoes are pointing away from it, so it's not that they just wandered in and got ambushed. And where are these footprints leading me?
As you're talking, you come up on the road. Pavement.
Eliza turns back and looks at the other three.
Hazel checks the other side of the road.
Anything over there?
No, I don't see anything.
Hmm. Hey Faith, where does this road lead? Like, what's the most notable thing near us?
Winchester?
Okay, yeah, fair. I deserve that. Well, problem is, it's been a couple hours now since that thing attacked us. So whoever was walking along here probably has gotten wherever they were going, even if they weren't picked up in a car.
Yeah.
Hey, Eliza,
Yeah?
were those footprints wet at all?
Eliza turns around and looks at the trail of footprints.
No. The ground is soft enough to leave imprints of shoes, although getting details is difficult. It's not that soft. But it's not. They don't look like they passed through the river, if that's what you're asking.
Doesn't look like it. Why, Chris? What were you thinking?
Sand and dirt sticks to wet stuff. I thought if we couldn't see footprints on the road that maybe I could scatter something and it might stick.
Maybe.
But if they're not wet, then they wouldn't have left a trail. So
No, guess not.
Chris looks for a road sign.
Speed limit 45.
God damn it. I deserved that one.
There appears to be a landfill down in the opposite direction. Okay, so let's think this through. This is new, right?
And it's. Alright. So there's a person involved. Or a very human disguised creature, but let's assume it's a person. Occam's razor and all.
Is that a thing they can do?
Not that I've seen. None of them have been able to pass as a person, from what I can tell.
Huh.
I mean, I don't like to judge people on how well they pass, but
That earns Eliza a quick smooch from Chris.
oh, okay. I think I like that. But yeah. So let's see. A person walks out of the woods after apparent. Okay, there was only the one trail of footprints that led to Desert, which means the monster originated in that clearing. We didn't see any evidence of a portal, so the portal might have been temporary, or the monster was just sort of constructed there.
Or there's someone else like us who already closed it and then left.
It's possible. The person who did this, though, where would they have gone?
Out of character, I am now wondering if this is the librarian or something.
Could be.
Hazel frowns. Eliza, you're the expert.
Hmm?
Can we, use this somehow? Can we throw one of these things into the gray and, I don't know. Because, they're opposites, right?
Yeah. Hmm.
You mean let them fight each other?
It would keep you all out of harm's way.
Would. But I mean, you would have to have some sort of ability to conjure them like you were a summoner or something, and that's not something I've heard of anyone doing.
Well, I'll keep looking into this. I can't promise I'm gonna find anything fast. But if I suddenly vanish, you'll know what happened.
No!
Don't know. Hazel, I think you should have one of us with you when you're looking into this.
She's okay, Eliza. Just... Chris turns to Hazel. Don't make jokes like that. Please?
I'm sorry. Faith and I will do the buddy system. And I'll make sure that she gets out of any sticky situations. You did show me how to fight.
Yeah, but
Well,
still,
better.
if anything happens, like you've had any evidence of these things actually being near you, call one of us immediately, okay?
Okay.
Faith, you heard that?
Yeah,
Yeah, okay, good. Well,
I don't want to get into a fight with anything, but she trails off.
Eliza sighs and kind of there's been a tension in her shoulders that suddenly slumps out. It's just, well, I guess this is a dead end.
Well, I mean, it's good to know that there's something we need to be concerned with.
Yeah,
It's better than nothing.
someone really. Got an idea about who I want to talk to, but it's a tomorrow thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, can it wait till morning?
Yeah. All right. Back to Dez's house, I guess. Dez, do you have any ideas? Anything we've missed?
I don't think so. Yeah, going back to my place is cool. Obviously, my parents are cool now, I think.
So here's a question for the group as we pan upward into the sky from this scene. Is this a sleepover at Dez's place, or do you all go back home?
Sleepover at Dez's place could be fun.
Chris sends a text to the volleyball house group chat just to be like, here's where I am. See y'all in a bit.
Hey, Faith. We're gonna sleep at Dez's house. Apparently. Can you feed Nisa?
Will do.
It's just the half can that's in the fridge already.
Okay.
All right. Love you. Bye. Ah! And she hangs up before she can think about that anymore.
Didn't I tell you that we're getting used to saying I love you to our friends?
Did you?
Did you miss the whole damn speech?
Oh, that. Yeah.
Hazel just kind of chuckles in the background.
I mean, I guess. Anyway. Yeah.
So, as the scene fades out and we see the stars in the night begin to fade into morning, and you all go through your morning routines as best you can with this ad hoc sleepover. Some cleaning is done, and the day is yours.
Hey, hot stuff. I have a question.
Yeah. Eliza has a cup of coffee, and I think she's up in the pool house in this scene.
Chris is sweeping up the remaining dirt that she had created in the room. and tossing it outside. If we were a team previously,
Mm-hmm.
what did we know?
Each other's names, for one.
I. What else?
Wait, also, not to completely derail what's going on here, before I forget, can I use the sleepover as a relax action?
Sure. Yeah, I'll give you that.
I don't think I have any skills that go with this.
I know a guy doesn't work.
I was just gonna say, these
don't-
guys, I know them.
I don't know if that's relevant here.
It's okay. I got an 8.
Okay, nice. So, the day is yours. What is your plan?
I think the plan is to go to the gray and ideally punch the rider in the face.
I'm on board with that.
Alice and Rob, roll read a soul for me, please.
Okay.
It will probably be another 4. I've not succeeded on one of these yet.
I think you're both getting a. Can I just give them a +1, Rain? Just
Well,
because.
it's a 5, so it's a failure anyway.
I got a 7.
Okay. Desdemona can tell Chris is a little uncertain about this. She can't quite tell which part of the idea bothers Chris, just the general uncertainty.
Gotcha. Des kind of eyes Chris and goes, "Something wrong? You don't wanna take down this guy?"
On one hand, yeah. I'd like to punch his stupid face real good with a volleyball. On the other hand, if everything we've seen so far is right, he's the reason I don't remember you two. And I don't like the idea of dealing with that again right now.
Well, if it helps, I've got a plan that I think will give us a nice advantage over him.
And rather than hearing all of that, I think we cut to the gray cutting open. And this time, you all hear a chatter of voice, faint from this side of the portal. But you hear what sounds like people talking. The clatter of metal on metal, that sound when a shovel digs into the dirt.
Eliza smiles as she hears this and steps through the border to the gray. She just says to herself, "So it did work."
Real quick question. Is that expression of discomfort with two relative acquaintances also enough for speaking a blunt truth? You can hear in my voice that I'm a little bit more dubious about this one than the last one.
Yeah, I'm not so convinced.
Sure, that's fine. I figured it was a little bit of a stretch. I wasn't sure how much of a stretch.
The key word in blunt is that it has to be something that folks aren't really being said. It's being said because it has to be said.
Sounds good.
So, Eliza's just stepped through the portal. What are the other two doing?
Yeah, if Eliza steps through, Des is gonna step through.
Yeah, Chris follows suit. I assume we're all transforming shortly thereafter?
Feel free.
On it. Dice. And it's an 8.
It's a 7 total.
Oh, that's a 4.
Oh.
So, Eliza and Des, you transform the same way that you always have. Chris, you are more hesitant because you don't remember everything about the last time you were in here. And that's what worries you. You remember that swarm of monsters that was attacking you when you fell, closing in around you, biting, and you miss a beat. The magic cascades over you, and you catch yourself, and you are now in the gray. Ahead of you, Des and Eliza are ascending with their wings up the bank of the gully to where the camp is situated.
Hey, wait!
Oh,
Chris sprints after them.
what, just straight up the side of the gully?
Yeah.
Okay, I love that.
She's an athletic little magical not a girl.
I like to think her wings are flapping to keep her up as she does that. Yeah, Eliza looks around for Tilly as the first thing.
Well, using your same trick of looking for the largest concentration of injured people, you are able to find her. She looks up. Oh, I'm glad to see you're all okay. Eliza said that you had been hurt.
Do you remember my friend here?
I believe you came through, yes? Chris, right?
Chris nods.
Eliza smiles.
I'm glad you all met each other.
All right, well, and Eliza actually shifts to pull a bag that she's wearing. She wasn't wearing while she transformed it, but picked it up after. And she just says, "Seen the rider lately?" Eliza unzips the bag and reveals that inside of it is just a whole bunch of broken glass.
Tilly kind of looks down at the glass and is like, "Uh, well, no, thank goodness I haven't seen him lately or in a long time, but what are you planning to do with that?"
Eliza gestures at Dez's wings. Just glass is her thing.
Tilly's eyes shift to you, Des, slightly confused.
Des reaches towards the glass and like pulls her hand up and floats a bunch of the glass shards out of the bag.
Oh, uh, okay. I don't know how that. It's quite a blessing, I will say that.
Yeah, I won't lie, I'm pretty pleased about it.
What is the plan with that, Eliza?
Um, so we need the powder that we were gathering last time, and I was hoping that the soldiers had kept it on hand. Tilly, who would we talk to about that?
She points back towards where the general's tent is.
Yeah. All right. So we need to get that powder, and we've got the glass. And Chris, can you make me a hollow shell out of stone?
Are you trying to make a cannonball?
You want me to fill my sports balls with shards of glass and gunpowder?
Yes.
Okay. Chris bends down and picks up a softball-sized stone. A moment later, a slight pattern glows in it, and she traces that with a finger. Those of you familiar would recognize that that's where the seams would be if it were made for a game. And as though it was, in fact, made of leather, Chris's talon-like fingers slice those stony threads, and she lifts up a flap of the rock. Those sharp fingers then dig into that center and lift out a handful of dirt before she turns it over to shake out the remainder. Is that gonna work? I might be able to do it with a bigger one.
Bigger would probably be better, because powder's kind of an anemic explosive. So, speaking of which, Eliza sets down the bag of glass shards and says, "I'm gonna go talk to the general and get our powder."
Chris turns to Desdemona. She didn't need to bring glass in a bag, did she?
No, I didn't know she was bringing glass. Let me try something. Des pops her shield out of thin air and is not holding it directly, but has her hands on either side and seems to be trying to like almost compress the shield until it starts to crack and then shatter into a bunch of shards. Does this work?
That should do for the plan that Eliza seems to have. Let me try a volleyball? Chris repeats the process from the softball with a volleyball.
I think Eliza will just return so we don't have to do a whole scene with General. And she just comes with a couple of those sacks full of powder that we had retrieved with the soldiers before.
Indeed. There's not many of them. There's certainly not enough to dig an entire mine. But there's a few.
Yeah, so mine isn't going to work, but Chris, I figure when we get the chance, you just launch this thing right at it. Stone shards, glass shards, and explosives. Should go well.
Seems like a good plan.
Should at least hit as hard as a shrapnel shell from this era, so yeah.
You want my shot to shatter?
Yeah, and I've got here, and she pulls out a little thing. Percussion caps. When this impacts, it should be enough to set this off and detonate the powder.
Should work. I can probably make these thin enough. It is going to take some setup. Like, that's a little bit more control than I usually use.
Well, these things they can like detonate if you just hit them with a hammer. So I figure the impact from hitting something, that should be enough.
Tilly takes a deep breath. When you go to the fight, will you need me?
I think it's best if we don't risk you in the field.
I understand.
All right. Well, let me sit here and practice this, I guess.
And I think that's a good place for us to wrap up this episode. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening, and thank you to my players. I hope to see you all next time, and have a good night. Thank you again for joining us on this adventure. With Conviction is a production of Silver Maiden Games. If you would like to play Conviction, check out the game at silvermaidengames.itch.io. Music for the intro and outro of this podcast is A Soul with Conviction by Doom Vega, who you can find on Bandcamp. Music within the episodes is by Rachel Rose Mitchell, who you can find on Bandcamp and Spotify. All rights to the music are retained by their original artist. Production and editing are done by myself and the With Conviction cast. Thank you all. This would not be what it is without you. You can find this podcast on Spotify and YouTube or silvermaidengames.wordpress.com. You can also find more about the game, podcast, and ways to contact us at silvermaidengames.wordpress.com.